Yo, what's good, bro? How you doing today?
Man, you know, we out here supporting the fathers. We out here doing what we supposed to do. Standing up for the children, standing up for what's right, putting our foot down, and letting these courts know that we are no longer going to be victims of parental alienation. We're no longer going to be victims of this corruption that's going on inside these courtrooms, and we will not allow for these lawyers to prolong our cases longer than what they should be. We're here fighting for the fathers that are unheard, fathers that feel that their voices are unheard. We're letting them know that there's a movement for them. We're letting them know that they're not alone. We're letting them know that they can come out and that they can fight, and that we're letting them know that their voice is heard. We're letting them know that they need to fight for the children.
Yo, what's your name? Where you from, G?
My name is Ali. I'm from Uptown Manhattan, Washington Heights, born and raised in the city. You know, and this is what we out here for. We fighting for the children. We letting it be known that, you know, as a father, what you're supposed to do is be there and provide, be there for the child, regardless of what it is, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of what your situation is with your child's mother. You fight for that child. You fight to be in that child's life, because that child didn't ask to be here. You brought them into this world, and it's your right and it's your job to uplift them and help them make it in this world.
Yo, what do you do to govern your mental health, brother?
For my mental, what do I do? I take it a day at a time, and I always try to put myself in other people's shoes. Because you never understand what somebody else is going through till you have a conversation. And without conversation, you'll never know, or sometimes you'll never hear what you wanted to hear. A lot of times, you may think you know it all because we're conditioned to think a certain way. We're conditioned to believe things are a certain way until we learn. One thing one thing wise man told me is that every day we wake up and we unlearn something to learn something new.
Exactly. All right, so what is the most excruciating thing you've been through in life? I think we touched up on it over there.
I would say probably the most excruciating thing I've been through in my life is having to fight for my son's custody since he was born. You know, my son has just turned 2 years old, and now is that I'm finally starting to get visitations with my son. You know what I mean? I got to see my son here and there prior to, but I've never actually had the time to sit down with my son and show my son the love, you know, of a father. Show my son that I'm here for him. Show my son the ropes. Teach him the ropes. Teach him right from wrong. Teach him to get up when he falls. I haven't been able to have those one-on-ones with my son, so now that's finally starting. After 2 years of me fighting, after 2 years of me, you know, crashing out, after 2 years of me losing my mind, losing my sanity, because the only way a man loses his sanity is if you strip him of his kids. A man's mind is always intact because a man always thinks about bettering himself.
Amen.
You understand?
Amen.
So when you take a man's children away from him for no reason or without due probable cause, that leads a man to go crazy. So that's why we have fathers out here coming together to let each other know, you know what I mean, that we're here for each other, you know what I'm saying?
And what are you trying to create for the future for yourself that you didn't have as a child?
Well, I want to create longevity and long-term wealth. I want to create residual income from my family, residual income from my child, so that once I pass away, you know, my child can have something to lean on. Not only that, you know, that it's, you know, an asset for him. You know, I want him to learn from my past, learn from my elevation, learn from how I grew. You know? And if it's one thing I can say is when you grow, you're supposed to procreate. So when you grow, you procreate means you pass on that knowledge.
Give me some gems for the youth and shout out your pages and everything like that.
Gems for the youth: always listen to what your parents say, and always take heed to what elders give you and what elders say to you, because knowledge is power, and without knowledge, you won't be able to operate.
Amen, bro. Appreciate you, man. I love you, and I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of all of us, man.
Likewise, brother.
Stand together, divided we fall, man.
That's what it's all about.
Yo, see you later. See you next time. Till then.
One band, one sound.